evening. You've always heard about David Salon. And now, without further ado, here's the man behind David Salon, Mr. David Charlton. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Hi.
So, a lot of people must be wondering, how did this all start? It's all over the Philippines now. I mean, well, it's all over Metro Manila. There's a David Salon in shopping malls. There's a David Salon in the best places in Metro Manila. How did this all start, David?
Well, actually, I came to the Philippines originally in 1978, so 28 years. We started with our original salon, Reveille Salon, and then branched out with that one, and it was around about 1989. I was offered a place in New Farmers Plaza in Cubao, and that we already had a Reveille Salon in Ali Mall, so I figured two Reveille Salons too close to each other was too close. So we decided to put up another salon, which was DAVIDS, and with that I aimed to bring Reveille type of hairdressing, which was really A+ services, but A+ prices as well. So I figured if we could bring A+ service, but make the prices a little bit more reasonable so the average person could afford them, I figured, you know, we might as well try and do that. We started our first David salon in 1989, and from then on we just basically branched out.
What brought you all the way from England, halfway across the world, and landed up in Manila?
Well, I'm originally from the northeast of England, from Sunderland, and I was hairdressing there, teaching at college. I was actually managing my uncle's salon there. I actually saw a job advertised in the Hairdresser's Journal for Reveille, which is a chain of salons in Hong Kong. So I thought I was going to go and work in Hong Kong. And then when I went for the interview, they said, well, actually, we'd like you for our salon in the Philippines, in Manila. So I pictured white beaches, grass skirts, palm trees, you know, like a picture of Hawaii that you see in postcards. I thought Manila was going to be the same. That's how I ended up here originally.
When you arrived here, did you already envision like a David Salon?
It just happened. I originally thought I was going to be here for 2 years. I had a 2-year contract. I figured after 1 year, I go back to England for a vacation, come back, finish my contract, and then go back to England again. As I say, I was managing my uncle's salon in England, so I always envisioned going back to England and then working there, expanding our salons in England. I used to teach in England also at the college there. So I always knew that I'd sort of be doing something in the teaching line as well. So my plan to come here, I guess, I was, you know, really 21 years old, and I was just wanted to travel a little bit, get to see the world, have an adventure. And then after the second year, when I was due to leave, the people that owned Reveille at the time offered me a partnership. I said if I stayed, I could become a sort of junior partner. So it was a good offer, and it was too good to pass up at the time. So I said, sure, why not? Try. I'll give it another year. Well, another year became another year, and then after a few years, eventually they were expanding so fast in Hong Kong that they basically turned over the Manila operation to me. So I was basically running my salon then, and then we expanded from then on, or I expanded from then on, because we got other offers from, we were in hotels in the beginning, we got offers from the different hotels to open up salons there, so I did that, and every year it just seemed to be something new was happening. And every year it got pushed to the back of my mind about going back to England, apart from for vacations, of course, because I still have family there. And then eventually, I guess about 10, 12 years, maybe about 10, 12 years ago, I sort of realized that Manila's home already.
Just exactly how did you start? Because we started off with you teaching in hair salons, the beauty sciences. I mean, how did you get into this thing?
As I said earlier, I was managing my uncle's salon. He was a hairdresser. My mother was a hairdresser. My grandfather was a barber. So, and my uncle had his own salon from when I was aged about 10 or 12, I guess. So from the age of about 12 onwards, after school on Saturdays, I'd go and work in my uncle's salon, sweeping the floor, bringing out coffee to the clients, and so my life was around salons. So it just became a natural progression that when I was 16, and I had to decide, what did I want to do? Did I want to go on for further education academically? Did I want to go to university? Or what did I want? I thought about it for a while, but it just seemed natural that I would just sort of go into hairdressing. So I went into hairdressing, went to work full-time in my uncle's salon. And of course in England we do what is called City and Guilds of London Institute examinations, and you have to go to college for that. So I did that. I went to college 1 day a week, used to do it, then a couple of nights a week. So I passed the basic City and Guilds, and then I passed my advanced City and Guilds. That takes 5 years. So I was then going to go on and they used to have a master's certificate, it was called, which is equivalent of a degree, but it's in It's in hairdressing. And in England, when you do the hairdressing courses, it's not just like you're learning how to just, you know, curl hair or blow dry or cut. You also do the sciences behind it. So part of it was biology, part of it was a certain amount of chemistry. We had to pass English exams. When I did my Advanced City and Guilds, that actually gave me the equivalent of an English teacher's qualification. So I could actually teach English to infants in infant school. So it's a little bit more involved than just learning to cut hair, basically. So I went through all of that. I mean, then I was going to do the master's side, and then I got offered the job in Manila, so I came here instead.
You appreciate going to a place more knowing that sort of background. I can imagine myself going to a David's salon and having met you and having heard this. People will hear this on TV and they say, you know, I'm in very good hands.
Well, we hope so, because we have our training centre here, and I try and pass on what I learned from England. I still have all my textbooks. I have everything from England. Actually, my uncle now is the head of the hair and beauty department in the college that I went to. So he let me have a checkout of all their textbooks and everything. So we basically teach the same system. It's not just the artistic side of hairdressing that we have. It's really the scientific side as well. So when they do a colour, it's not just is the colour right. They understand the chemistry that goes behind that. And like anything, if you have a deeper understanding, you can do it better.
Yes, and well, that's one thing that not too many people know. What do you call your hair school or your?
It's just it's our training centre, David Salon Training Centre. Yes.
This is open to the public, of course.
We do have courses for the public as well, yes, but primarily it's for our own staff. So basically, our own staff do the same as I did when I was a kid. From the junior staff, we give them 1 month training to begin with, full time, and then after that they come back at least once a month, preferably twice a month, just for basic courses, just to upgrade their skills and everything. As well as we teach them in the salons as well, the practical side. But here in our training centre, we teach a bit of the theory as well, so they learn what goes behind what they're doing. And then from there, they'll go through that sort of course, and that's about 3 years. And then after 3 years, 4 years, depending on how they do, then we give them additional courses in more advanced colouring, cutting and everything. And that's the transition from becoming a junior to becoming a stylist. And then after about 4 years, that's when we would sort of promote them. They'd become a stylist, they'd go out into the salons, and then they'd do clients' hair. So it takes about 4 to 5 years before we let anybody actually cut someone's hair.
There might be some people out there now who are saying, I'd like to get into this business, I'd love to get into this business, but I'd like to have a better understanding of the craft, of the science.
Sure.
So it's going to take them 4 years to learn, or 3 to 4 years to learn what you're teaching, and then maybe they can open their own salon. Is that part of your goal? Is that part of the objective of your school?
We do take people from outside, but the thing is, what you've got to remember is with our staff, they're only doing it once a week, once every 2 weeks, or once a month even, so it takes a lot longer. We do have intensive courses where people can come for 3 months straight. So they would go through the basics in about 3 months. Now, would that make them qualified to open up their own salon? Not really. But it would give them a basis in hairdressing, it would give them the basic parts, so at least they would understand. So if they wanted to open up a salon, for instance, and perhaps employ someone else, at least they would have an idea. You know, they would know where they stand, sort of thing. And then, of course, after that, we do offer more advanced courses as well. 1 week, 2 week, 3, 4 week courses. So if you wanted to do something like this, you could, and really be qualified, you could probably do it in about a year.
Okay.
About a year of intense training, 5 days a week.
How many David salons are now in existence?
We have approximately 180 salons at the moment. We're spread all over. We're in Baguio, Vigan, we're down in Zamboanga, Davao, Cagayan, Visayas, of course, all around Metro Manila. So we're pretty much spread out in most of the big cities in the Philippines.
Are these franchises, or are these fully owned by your company?
We don't really have pure franchises per se. We have sort of partnerships. It's mixed. It's probably about 60-40 between partnerships and franchises, sort of thing.
Okay, now I'm imagining too that some of our televiewers would be asking themselves or telling themselves, I'd really like to get into this business. How do I partner with Mr. David Charlton?
That is very possible, yes. Obviously, we'd have to see the location first. We'd have to make sure it's not interfering with one of our existing salons, because, you know, we don't want to open up our own salons next to each other, you know, right next door to each other. But yes, if somebody has a good location and we talk to them and everything seems okay and it works out, then it's very possible, yes.
The most important thing, the reason you have more than 100 plus salons, what magic formula did you have to be successful in this industry, in this business?